Welcome back to the Social Seller Podcast with Conor Paulsen, where we interview the world's highest quality communicators, professionals, business owners, creatives, and everything in between. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're a high quality communicator, there's a good chance you're living a lot happier life, but you're also bringing those opportunities into your life almost like a magnet. My guarantee is that on this show, we only interview people that I, one, look up to, and two, that I know are going to continue to kill the game for years to come, and I want to make sure they're on your radar. But what I've learned is by asking the best questions, we get the best responses, and that's what the highest quality communicators, our social sellers, are all about. Let's hop inside to the Social Seller Podcast. Welcome back to the Social Seller Podcast. We have a very special guest, Caitlin Booty Builder Rice here in the house. I love it.
What's up, guys?
Not only are you a certified personal trainer, professional fitness model, real estate investor, brand creator, you have millions of followers, and you've built a real brand around helping people and getting through some adversity you've dealt with, and that's opened up doors. Now, you're helping people that follow you and your clients live a happier, healthier life that we know on these conversations impact you in these ripple effects. It starts to attract opportunities. So I want to thank you for being here. In quick context, this is our first time meeting too, so I'm excited just to hop in and have it recorded just based on, where
I'm
the
so
conversation
excited to be
goes.
here.
Thank you. And when you first got here, and I was reading a little bit on your website too, you were a military brat. And we have some international listeners too. Could you explain what that was like and what your upbringing looked like? Because it wasn't as common for most people.
It was not. We actually moved 9 times before I even turned 16. I think that it has helped me shape who I am, and being confident and always being the new girl kind of was hard growing up, but always kind of taught me to be outgoing and put myself out there, and just to, I am good as I am. I don't need to, make up all these crazy stories about my background or anything. Like, I just go into a new situation, and the people that accept me for who I am is my tribe. And so that definitely helped. But it was challenging as a child because, you want your same friends and you're sad to leave. But I like new opportunities, and I think it's definitely helped.
Yeah, and it starts to condition you, right? As a kid, I'm sure it's like, I have friends, I don't want to leave them. And especially, it sounds like you probably did it multiple times.
Yes.
So it was like, make some friends, and then having to fit in. And that's never easy. I know certain ages where I felt like no one, I just could not fit in. So couldn't imagine that. And now looking back, it's also part of the reason that you have the ability and value freedom in your lifestyle, freedom to spend your time
Absolutely.
how you want, to travel. I know you do a lot of traveling.
Yep.
Who was the biggest role model in your childhood? So having a father in the military.
Both of my parents, honestly, they have been married for almost 40 years, and they are the cutest. They're still so in love. So having a good representation of a healthy relationship and a healthy marriage and just a happy family, because that was our unit. We kept moving around, but the one constant that stayed was our family bond, and I think that kind of helped push me through a lot of harder times. Even still, it's nice because a lot of people don't have that security blanket of like, hey, I have something to fall back on, or like I have that support system, and I've always had a really strong family base. So that is something I'm extremely grateful to have.
Yeah. And what if they're not around? And with all the travels and things you have going on, how do you find support? Does a phone call do it for you? Or do you have a friend that travels, or is there, how do
It
you
absolutely does. So I actually only see my family once a year, and that sounds like, not a lot, but we all talk multiple times a day. So it feels like there's, no distance between us. And I think that because we're all so used to that now, we make sure that we're putting in the time and putting in the effort. Just like any other friendship or any other relationship, you have to cultivate that, and you have to spend time putting effort in and, reaching out. And so we all make a really big priority of doing that. And then every year we see each other at Christmas, and we have a huge blowout get together, and it's all, So, I find that is a major support system that I have, but I also do have a close-knit group of friends. I'm a very social human, so I'm always surrounded by a tribe of girls. If you look at my Instagram stories, it's literally every day, four of my girlfriends with me at all times, and so I definitely have that as well. But just like anything, you have to be a friend to have friends, and you have to put effort in to get effort back.
Absolutely. And the chosen family, right? Our friends, especially when you move out of maybe where the majority of your family is. And you hit on a good point. It's a two-way street in a friendship. What does your friendship today look like with the close circle of 3 to 5 women that you spend time with versus maybe where were your friend groups 5 years ago? So early 20s.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you're in your early 20s, you have a bunch of party friends. So I went from having these shallow friend groups of party friends, and I just thought that, the more friends I had, the better it would be. And, you quickly realize as you get older that, sometimes, quality is better than quantity. And yeah, so I mean, I definitely engage with my humans, and I genuinely care about what they're up to. So I think that, checking in, just saying hi, and making time to do things together and really paying attention and being a good listener. And that was also something that I had to teach myself to actively do, and a lot of people aren't very good at that, being present and really being tuned into what the other person is saying instead of waiting for your turn to speak. I think that helped me be a better friend for sure. But yeah, you got to put effort in.
I like that. Hearing or choosing to listen, not hearing, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to give context for what you've built in the brand, and it has so many different directions. And before we hop in, I feel like we have to have some context, because you started a modeling career in your teenage years.
Correct.
Was that something you planned on doing? You were pumped,
no.
I want to? Okay,
no.
So it was an opportunity that came up. And what did that kind of lead you to in the road at that age?
So it was a lot. I started modeling when I was 15, 16. And at that point, my life was kind of all over. I was moving a lot. I actually went to boarding school in India for 2 years in high school. And so that kind of interrupted the modeling career a little bit. And then when I came back home, I was graduating from high school in Alabama. And I was actually traveling every weekend to Atlanta just for modeling gigs. And I was taking it a lot more seriously. But at that point, I was okay, well, I was planning on going to UCLA just to be in LA, just to be around the scene and get, more jobs and stuff. Because I was I'm good at this. I like it. And yeah, I mean, but then I kind of grounded myself and I was wait a minute, but what was the plan? The plan was for me to go to law school and pursue that. So then I ended up getting a full ride to...
Why law school? Where did that come
I just wanted to do international adoption law and work with kiddos.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was kind of always my plan. But yeah, and then I got a full scholarship to SMU. And I was actually born in Texas, so I was okay, I'll return back to school and back to Dallas. And so I ended up in Dallas. I continued modeling there, but my focus then was, college. I'm going to be a lawyer and do all that. And then kind of wrenching my plans, I met a Canadian guy and we started dating. He kind of got me into fitness. We were doing long distance, so I wasn't, going out partying and doing that. I was kind of teaching myself nutrition and teaching myself how to work out. And I just realized how empowered that made me feel and how strong I felt, and being able to bring my girlfriends to the gym and show them the stuff that I've taught myself. That was empowering too. And I was wow, I really like this. Yeah. So then I started kind of just posting motivational stuff on Instagram. This is when Instagram was literally the 5 filters. When people were posting their snacks all day, it was nothing.
So I'm trying to think, year-wise, are we 2014?
2013.
13,
yeah.
Actually,
it was probably 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. But yeah, so I started posting, and a couple of my posts went viral. And I was whoa, I woke up and, I'm oh, wow, I've got 11,000 followers. What's happening? So I just kind of kept posting. And by the time I came to graduate, I was graduating a year early. And I was planning on moving up to Canada. And then, yeah, I was just you know what? I already have what a lot of business owners want is I have an audience. I already have that. So now we launch a product, we launch a thing and just see where it goes. And it blew up. My followers were growing. So then obviously there's the marketing and stuff and the jobs that come with that and just the modeling gigs. And then there was my now online brand where I'm helping to coach people. And I got my personal training cert and kind of dove into more learning.
And then collaborations, more opportunities coming in, this ripple effect.
But to grow my brand was actually back when Instagram was, not owned by Facebook
more
and things
organic.
were, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that was when a lot of us girls used the shout for shout situation, and that helped grow so many platforms. But I don't know if you know who Jen Selter is.
I know the name, and I just haven't.
Yeah, so she's
a big female. Yeah, blonde, right?
But so when we both kind of started at the same time, and so we were the only two influencers that focused on booty work. And so it was I'm the OG, So me and her were always battling about, it was a totally different age of social media. So yeah, a lot has changed since then, but yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind of, I don't know. I think that one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that sometimes not having a plan is the best plan. And I've been so staunch and rigid in all the things that I'm I must do this. I'm militant with how I plan my life and how I do things. And sometimes I'm yo, you just need to relax and kind of let life unfold. And because if you're just so focused and, a horse with tunnel vision, it's, you might miss out on a lot of things. So that kind of happened with my career. It just ended up here, and it just keeps kind of evolving into new and different things. And yeah, it's exciting.
I love it. And you're humble to the point where you explain it in such a nice way. And there's so many things I want to unpack, because I feel like there's so many ups and downs to get to that point, right? And you have to learn. There's trial and error, right? You start to realize, like, what do I like in life? I should probably follow that.
And being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? What was your first experience as an entrepreneur that was like, oh shit? Did you ever question, like, oh, should I be doing this? I have the influence. I'm going to drop a brand. When was it like, oh, I have to be a business professional?
Yeah, exactly. Too? That was the whole thing, because a lot of people learn their way into business by just getting there, and then they build the audience. I just had it all, and I was like, now what do I do with it? And so I kind of made a couple mistakes out the gate, obviously, and learned a lot of like tough lessons. And a lot of these lessons actually had to do with the people that I decided to work with. And it was a quick wake-up call that there are some real shitbags in the world. And yeah, so I mean, it's all a learning curve, but I was always like kind of business oriented in college too, so that kind of helped me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never stop learning. I'm still learning. I'm still like, oh no, I still feel like it's just like a dream sometimes. I'm like, okay, like it's a lot of responsibility.
It is. And I'm sure do you ever feel pressure? Like
all
waking
the time.
up, like the thoughts of, am I putting enough content out? Am I authentic to like what the audience might have been? And these are all things like I'm always considering, and I'm sure for you it's just at a different magnitude.
Well, for me it's because I take being an influencer very seriously, because there's a lot of idiots out there I've been approached by companies that want to, pay me to promote bigger butt cream, bigger boob cream. Absolutely not, because the people that I've built, my brand that I've built, they trust me, and they will buy a product that I'm going to promote. And so to keep the authenticity behind my brand, I can't be a sellout. I can't do these things. And like the way that I live my life and what I present people are watching and they're taking note from me, and like I'm a large influence for a lot of people. And so there's always someone looking. And so I think that is kind of a pressure of sorts. You just always feel like you don't want to let people down. You don't want to. I think that I'm better at like compartmentalizing that now and realizing like, okay, I still need to like deal with, like, handle myself and like, focus on the things that make me happy instead of constantly worrying about pleasing others. But that's kind of in my nature. I'm like super nurturing, and I just want to like take care of people and make them happy. But yeah, I mean, with time, you learn a balance of things. But yeah, I take it very seriously, and I think that others, should. It's a big deal.
And it shows why you continue to have upward momentum, right? That things continue to happen. And it also shows consistency. You have, and maybe I'll be able to better understand it later, you have this balance of empathy from your encounter with the dog, and just immediately like, oh, I don't own one. And we're like,
I love kids and dogs. That's my thing.
And going to India and like wanting to get into law for this. So it makes sense. Where did that nurturing component come from?
I've always been that way. Like literally,
was
I was but I was that kid that was like watching like Bambi and just like crying my eyes out. Like I've always been able to like feel other people's feelings, and I just never understood what it was until you get to be an adult and you're dealing with all the woo woo energy, empathy, feelings. You can feel and so I didn't really understand what it was, and I kind of thought that I was just like sensitive. But yeah, I think it's been a gift, actually.
It absolutely is. It's a sensitivity to it. And a lot of times I've learned when you have that sensitivity, usually you have it with your body too. Mm-hmm. So I have 3 sisters, and I think all 3 at points throughout their life have had like sensitivities to their stomach, where like they eat certain foods and they're like, my stomach hurts, whatever. And then starting to realize, oh, if I get rid of dairy or XYZ, like it starts to feel better. And realizing that it took them that long to find some consistency that worked. Now, what enabled you when you started the brand, how would you define like how you communicate to your audience? Because I see that is such a big difference maker. Or do you view them as a certain archetype?
With the thing with my brand is I have so many different areas of things that I do. And when I first kind of got into it, I put myself in a box. And like, especially in this past year, I'm trying to get out of that box, because I am so much more than just a fitness model. And there's so many other things that like I want to focus on, like the skydiving thing and empowering women and doing other things like golf. All these things like are, areas of interest for me. And so I just kind of yeah, so I think that the way that I'm like trying to communicate now is just being more intentional in my captions. I find that gets better engagement when I, because if you think about it, like for someone like a brand like mine, women are the main people that I'm targeting, like that's who's going to make me money, not the creepy guys that are at my page just looking at pictures, you know what I mean? So women want information. They don't care, like, great, she looks amazing in that bikini. Where'd you get the bikini? What exercises did you do to get that ab cut? Like, who does your hair? Like, women want information, and they want, and also people want to feel like you're human. You know what I mean? And so sharing, some small vulnerabilities and just like opening up in the caption and just kind of, I don't know. So I don't know if you've read any of my captions, but I put a lot of like time and effort into like writing them out, and I just find that a lot of people resonate with them, and I get messages and DMs, and they're like, wow, like I really needed this today. And that's powerful for me, because I'm like, if I can just do, it doesn't take me that long to like sit and write something that could really help change your day. Yeah. And that to me is huge.
Yeah. If it's thought provoking, and you balance value-based content well, right? From like education and in the teaching points, but doing it in a way that a lot of times it's storytelling. And I think that's the most effective communication, right? What do they say in sales? Facts tell, stories sell, right? Tell them about the experience. Now, what was the first product you sold? You have this influence, and what was the price of the product? It was the Booty Builders. Is this a 6-week program, 8-week? Was there an in-person? And was it a virtual? How did this work?
I was literally just testing the waters. So I created a few PDFs, just workout PDFs, and I started selling them over email via PayPal. And like, just watching my PayPal account, because I was like, whatever, I'm probably still going to go to law school. Like, whatever. I was kind of like, well, let's see what happens. And then I was just like sitting there. I remember looking at my PayPal account. I was like, you're joking. Like, I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. Like, I made 6 figures in that PayPal account. Like, and I'm like, it was insane. PDFs. Yeah, off PDFs. And I'm
email and PayPal.
I'm like, whoa. And I would have to email them the product. And like, it was just so unorganized. And obviously you can take that PDF, like now they're all protected, and I had to go through all that. But all of those were different steps. But I was like, wow, there is a lot of money to be made in this, and people genuinely want to know, my workout tips. Yeah. So I started kind of going from that into building my website. And then I actually launched a clothing line as well. Kind of just still even, it's been years now, but I'm still testing the waters in different markets and different areas of interest, just to see kind of what hits and like what works, because, as you know, everything's constantly evolving and changing, and it's just not the same anymore too with social media. So you kind of have to adjust to the times.
Yeah. And do you remember what the cost was for this first one?
$60.
So it's $60, and $60, you would get access to the...
Actually, no, it was $100 for a bundle of 3 little booty, I think booty phase, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I call them booty phases.
I love it. See, like, you move forward so quick that a lot of times, like, we can deal with adversity in business and things, but you start to get used and conditioned. You have like Teflon skin, and you start to forget some of these details. So I apologize that I keep going back, but I have to ask you, because it's like, how much is it? How and yeah, because it starts to get fun, because you're like, damn, a lot of these things are like, if I could go back and do it, I did a lot of things inefficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Were you reading about sales funnels? Like, were you a ClickFunnels person, or how did you like?
I've always been a voracious reader. I was the kid that would like go to the library. I still have a library card, and I go like once a week.
I love it.
But and obviously being pre-law, you have to like be able to read fast. So yeah, I was devouring like any books I could get my hands on, how to build business, how to build your website, all these things. Like, I still read all the time about, just being an entrepreneur. Like, I love social psychology. Like, any of these things like help you become better at, your brand. So
yeah,
they're all tools.
Exactly. And do you work in like an allotted time? For me, the only way, or like, I have a routine that it's like reading before bed. I'm not good at doing
routines. I have the most like structured routine in the morning. Yeah.
Can we hear it? Like, take me through the day, because as someone that values routines, loves to talk about them. But there's a why behind every little thing in your routine. I'm sure.
And I don't know if you've read Atomic Habits.
Yep.
So habit stacking, he talks about habit stacking. So like, that's kind of how I built out my routine. Just you start with one thing, and then you add another, then you add another, and then you're here with this, routine. So yeah, I wake up at 4 a.m. every morning. Immediately hop in a freezing cold shower. Cold therapy has been huge for me. I haven't gotten sick in like a year and a half. Like, it's been a game changer. And I don't know. If you've ever done cold therapy, you know the feeling. It's just exhilarating. You're awake. You're ready to start
coffee.
your day.
Like, your cells, like in your fingertips are like...
Oh yeah, you're ready to start your day, and you're excited. Like, I get excited to get in my cold shower.
Yeah.
So I take my cold shower, then I brush my teeth with my left hand. because I'm right-handed. And so I just like to stimulate the other side of my brain because we're so right-brained at times. So after that, I will go through my 5-step skincare routine. Go downstairs, make my coffee, make breakfast. I usually do a cup of egg whites and turkey bacon. I've been carb cycling, so breakfast is different each day. And then I take a time to read my nonfiction book. I always run a nonfiction and fiction at the same time because I just love to read.
We've read a lot of the same studies, though. That's the funny part because I know some of the whys behind
You're like,
it.
I know why she does this.
Yeah.
And then I read my book while I eat my breakfast, and then I will journal. And then as soon as I'm done journaling, I'm off to the gym.
And this is all so you're off to the gym at 6, right? This morning?
No, 5:30.
Okay, 5:30, because I saw you, you're working with a client. So do you do that 7 days a week?
Yes. I don't really go out or drink on the weekends anymore, so yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll be like, okay, we need to have a rest day, but no, my the cold shower, all of that still stays. It's just at a later time. It's honestly it's the way that you're structuring your day. Like, how are you going to start your day?
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's the energy that you're putting into the whole entire day, and it starts right when your feet hit the ground. How are you going to, are you going to run your day, or is your day going to run you?
Absolutely.
And so it makes me feel like I have control, and I'm ready, when I arm myself with my routine.
Yeah, and it starts to get easier over time because it's subconscious. But I think more importantly, and what you're talking about is it's like the momentum. If I can start the day with, when you start taking cold showers, and we're talking the coldest water you can possibly get, right? It sucks, but it starts to get better. I'm getting a cold
plunge tub because my cold showers just aren't doing it anymore.
All right, that's the next level.
It is.
Yeah, and that momentum of waking up, getting the cold shower in, and doing these things, every little thing that you're doing is adding that momentum. So when you're coming to the gym, you're fully awake. I mean, you're alive, and most people are sleeping in, especially in San Diego, Southern California.
I also feel like it's a flex, you know what I mean? It's like I'm already crushing my day before anyone's even starting to wake up. And I mean, I just feel like everyone should try waking up early. It doesn't, and you people they're like, how are you so motivated all the time? You just do all this crazy shit in the morning, and I'm like, it didn't all start that way. I literally was like, I'm gonna start waking up earlier. I was like, let's start with 8 a.m. I'm like, that's early for me.
Yeah.
So I started at 8, and then I moved it to 7, then I moved it to 6:30, then I moved it to 6, and then we ended up at 4. And I'm like, what's next?
Why did you drop it down to 4? Because a lot of people go to 5, and I'm curious, who did you learn about? Because the 4 a.m. club is the next level.
I don't know. Because I wanted to be next level. I was like, let's do it. And I also just love, I usually have a 6 a.m. client, so I like to be able to get all this done and get a workout done or whatever it is before I have to start working.
Yeah.
So, because if it's later in the day for a workout, I just like to be in my own head, in my own zone in the morning. And it's, stirring up my creativity, start thinking about ideas, letting them flow to me. And that all the things that I'm doing, the cold shower, exercising, moving my body, doing all these things helps put me in that zone to be open to that. So it kind of primes my whole day.
Yeah, I love it. And to do that consistently, and I say this, so props. Do you know Wes Watson?
Is the most important thing ever.
Yeah, consistency is everything, but that's why I asked, do you do it 7 days? Because I'm at 5 days. Yeah. On the weekends, it's not that I can't do it, I know I can.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that level yet, and I want to, and I know I will. You and Wes Watson do it. And I see him there at 4 a.m. in the gym, and it is 7 days a week. And for certain people, I see that discipline can be so beautiful, right? Yeah. And on the outside, sometimes it's I could look at Caitlin, or I could look at Wes, and I'm like, do you guys have fun? And knowing you both now, I know you do.
We're all human too, and sometimes this is always what brings me back. Sometimes I'll be like, I've been kind of a little bit out of routine, or I changed up my workout, so I had to wake up even a little bit earlier just to get all that back in, because I was like, okay, instead of doing all that, I would still do the cold shower and the teeth brushing or whatever, but then the reading and the journaling became later in the day because I had so many other things going on early in the morning, like a 5 a.m. client or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of realized that I felt like things were slipping, and I wasn't as successful. I wasn't making as much money. I just didn't feel like, I don't know, in a flow state. And I was like, what's going on? And I was like, you know what? Take it back to the basics. Get back to what started this trajectory of success, and let's go do it again. And then you add to that, and then you just have to get back into routine. Everyone falls out a little bit, and even if you can get back into it 5 days a week, that's still great. During your work weeks, you know. And sometimes I could do better at relaxing, which is why I picked skydiving and golf, because they're two sports that you are better at if you relax.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So I am forcing myself to do both of them, and now I love them both. And it's actually kind of folding over into other parts of my life too. I'm able to kind of just, okay, you know, I'm just super type A. I have to be like achieving. And so sometimes it's not really all about that. And sometimes you can achieve more by doing less.
Right. And it was Rob Sharma out of Canada who was talking about, he works with elite performers, and that a lot of times elite performers forget that sleep and recovery is not, what do they say? It's not a gift, it's a necessity, right? It's like, it is a necessity.
It's part of the work.
The only way you can get to peak performance is to do that. And we're going to back this to actually make this more realistic for anyone that's like, maybe I do want to wake up early, right? Or start. And I like how you said that what is it? Habit stacking. How it's like, all right, it started at 8 a.m. That's what it was for me too. And then I started reading about people that were talking 5 a.m. And then 2 years later, you meet some people that are like, no, the only way you can add time to your day is waking up early. You can't add it to the end of the day. Talking about the end of the day, what does your nighttime routine look like? When are you in bed? How do you make it?